Hello? Are we back? Did it work? Are we back? Are we back? Oh, cómo costó quitarme esa cosa. Okay, we're back! Let's freaking go! Thank you, Destiny. Okay, ahora sí. Close this. And then... I'll do it later. Alright, guys. I think she's all going to pure now. What is that supposed to mean? What the frick is that supposed to mean? Okay. So... Did I just say KKK? Accidentally? It was an accident. Where'd you send it? It was a meteorite. Or... Stream. Okay, here we go. So they said reacting to this, then finishing Mario 64. Alright.
Super Mario 64 is one of the most iconic video games of all time, with Princess Peach trapped in...
Okay. Wait, this is 38 minutes? What the frick? Doesn't beating Super Mario 64 speed run last less than 30 minutes? It's literally, it lasts to beating Super Mario 64. Beating Mario 64 is lasts less than this whole video. What the frick? Hoy amanecí con picazón en la garganta feo y cuando estaba limpiando me puse a cantar rock metal y se me quitó. Oh, wow, qué bueno, Destiny, la verdad, buenísimo que haya funcionado. Stream yourself sleeping, not again. What? That was for a specific goal that we reached. That's why we did it. You give us alarms based on how much August we have. True. La pura flema te quitaste con los tricks. Tricks? But he explains it. Soluciones rápidas. It takes about 9 times the time of the TAS.
To collect 70 out of 120 power stars to take down Bowser's barriers and defeat King Koopa. Over the years, clever players discovered that there are ways to take down these barriers other than collecting all those stars. Here's how a team of dedicated tool-assisted speedrunners managed to find a way to beat Super Mario 64 in 4 minutes and 20 seconds.
That actually looks so similar to Ocarina of Time, like the map.
Before we go on, if you don't know what a tool-assisted speedrun is, please watch the suggested video in the upper right corner. It will cover all the basic things you should know before understanding this speedrun.
Oh, but shouldn't we watch that video first then?
Okay, so first, why does Mario go over to the water instead of entering the castle?
It's me, Mario!
But that's what's the TAS. I mean, what? Ma? Too much time lost? Wait, what do you mean? Should we not watch the TAS? Should we watch this one then?
The answer is the result of two...
Well, I mean, I guess this one explains it, right? Pues a veces supera de Genshin Impact, aunque parezca chistoso y también rock de varias bandas, principalmente la banda Throne, luego Tetrack, and it's okay, current, y así. You should? Okay.
It requires 8 stars to open.
Wait. So then what? Super Mario 64 tool assisted speedrun? I mean, it's the same thing, right? World record explained?
Need to get a second key from
Bowser. See, the thing is that I'm ending in 15 minutes, so it's not getting... No, o sea, no me va a dar tiempo.
Door, plus 1 extra to unlock the level. You then need to collect 50 stars to open another star door, and to reach the final Bowser fight, you need to collect 70 stars. Otherwise, the door will still let you in, but the staircase leading to the final Bowser stage will be infinite. At first, the fastest known way to beat the game was to collect 70 stars in both keys, but it was discovered that you could skip the 50 and 70 star requirements.
No sé.
This meant that the fastest way now involved getting 31
No
stars.
solo escuchar música en español, mucha la única música que yo escucho en español es Luis Miguel, la verdad.
It was then found that you could bypass the 30-star door using Nips the Rabbit, which appears after you've collected 15 stars, so the requirement went down to 16. Next, it was found that you could skip the 8-star door and get the first ski with 0 stars, but it didn't help that much since you still
Dude, okay, you call me unemployed, but like, whoever figured this out...
for Mips to appear, until a new trick was found that let you skip the 30-star door without Mips, which lowered the star requirement to 1.
How long
Later,
does it take someone to learn this?
Let you skip both
I mean,
the 30-star door and the
assuming they're not a game developer, right?
Because these 3 castle levels
Assuming they're not someone who worked on the video
there was
game
little
themselves.
hope for any major improvement on the speed
I'll
limit.
skedaddle. Take
But it
care.
turns out
Alright,
that there is
Akumo.
another
Thank you for
mechanism.
watching the stream. Have
This
a great
automated
night,
door
and I'll
leads
see you
directly to the
tomorrow.
basement of the
We're
castle.
ending
If
stream in
Mario
12 minutes
manages to
anyway.
enter this door from the outside, he will enter the basement without a key and without any stars. The caveat is that Mario can't open doors underwater. To make this door accessible, the water needs to be drained from the inside first, which means the basement can't be accessed right away. However, there is a way to open a door underwater, and this is what we're gonna see here. Let's look at this step by step. Mario does a long jump, but immediately reverses his direction to go backwards. This sets up a trick called backwards long
I
jumping,
would
or
love
VLJ
to
for short.
speedrun
When
Super Mario
Mario
64.
jumps backwards,
Do you
it
understand what
gives
a
him little bit
flex
of
it would
extra
be
speed
to
at the
say
start of his jump. How much
I
extra
beat
speed?
Super Mario
Well,
64 in
only
like
half of
2
his
minutes or
current
something?
negative speed,
Or
minus
how
negative
long did you guys say it
speed by the time
took?
he was on the ground. As you can see, Mario quickly loses that speed and returns to
But
about
dude, but
negative
it takes a
50
lot of skill. That's the
By the way,
thing.
here's a sense of scale. 1 unit of speed means that Mario will travel 1 unit of distance in 1 frame. This is 1 unit of distance, which is roughly equivalent to about 1 centimeter, assuming that Mario is human-sized. In this case, Mario moving at negative 15 speed means that he will travel by 15 units backwards on each frame. However, if Mario is able to land immediately after jumping, he can long jump again and get another small bit of speed. This time, half of negative 23 speed, so he gets to negative 33. If he does it again, he gets half of negative 33 this time, which brings him up to negative 49 speed. This quickly spirals out of control as each consecutive jump multiplies his backward speed by 1.5 minus a negligible speed loss. After a while, Mario's speed is so large that he reaches the vanish cap under the moat entrance in a single frame. You might have noticed the 4 pauses here. This is called pause buffering, and it can be helpful while doing a BLJ. Since Super Mario 64 runs at 30 frames per second, the fastest a button can be pressed is 15 times per second. When pausing the game, Mario's universe and its physics stop advancing in time, but the game still registers buttons being pressed or released. Here's what happens. Mario jumps and the game is paused at the same time. There is 1 frame needed to release start, and then 1 frame to press it again. On the next frame, the game is still paused and you can use it to release start. On the frame after, the game is unpaused and you can jump and pause again.
Es más fácil la universidad que el speedrun.
This is what it looks like with the pausing time removed. As you can see, Mario is able to jump 30 times per second according to the game's physics without actually pressing the A button that fast.
30 times
This
per
helps generate all the
second.
speed required for this trick in the tight space it can be performed in at the cost of a little bit of time spent pausing the game. You might also have noticed how Mario seems stuck in place towards the end of his BLJ. This is because at this point, the bridge is preventing him from moving.
Oh, it goes like me in
forward.
class. Well, the teacher explains.
However,
I
by
see
the
my
time
cell
he
phone.
gains
I'm not
enough
looking at
speed
my
to
cell
break out
phone.
of
I
this
was,
spot, he has
I
way
was,
more than enough to
like I'll
overshoot
show
the
you what
bridge
I
in
was
a
doing.
single frame. So why doesn't he break
I
out
was
of it
putting
sooner?
this
The reason is pretty
white
simple.
thing. O sea, estaba
In the
enrollando
process of
esto
Mario's
para
movement,
ponerle el
the
white
game
thing y
subdivides
dejarlo
the
así.
movement in 4 steps, which we'll call quarter steps. As Mario is moving, the game checks if there's an obstacle on each quarter step of his movement. As long as nothing is in the way, Mario will keep being moved on each quarter step. However, if he's about to move into a ceiling, the quarter step will be cancelled and he will stay in place. In other
Dude,
words, if
I'll
Mario
be
is about to move
raging
into
so
a ceiling,
freaking
he will
hard.
be moved up to the last valid quarter step of his movement. Here's an example. On the first quarter step, the game is trying to put Mario inside the ceiling that makes up the underside of the bridge. Because Mario can't be inside of a ceiling, the game cancels his movement for that quarter step. The same process happens again on the second, on the third, and on the fourth quarter steps. At the end of the frame, although Mario has negative 1800 speed, he ended up not moving at all. But this interaction doesn't change his speed. On the next frame, even though he has negative 2700 speed now, the same problem occurs. Each quarter step, the game attempts to move him into the ceiling, which it can't, so Mario stays in place. This means that to break out of this spot at this angle, Mario needs to have enough speed so that his first quarter step is past the bridge, which means he needs to have enough speed to cover 4 times that distance in a single frame. Another way to break out of this spot is to change his angle until it doesn't put him into a ceiling, or in this case, to jump down into the moat. Finally, you may wonder how Mario got from all the way up here to all the way down here in a single frame using a jump. First, because Mario has
No
negative
way.
6,150 speed by now.
He
he's
did
able to
not
cross
go
that
from there to
distance
there
a
in
single
one frame.
horizontally. But what about vertically? How can a jump make Mario move down by nearly 1,500 units in a single frame?
No.
Well, to answer that, let's look at how Mario jumps. When you press A, the game will make Mario jump. That jump gives Mario an initial vertical speed, and gravity subtracts force speed on each subsequent frame until Mario lands or until he reaches his terminal velocity of 75 units downwards. This initial speed varies depending on the type of jump. For a single jump like the one used here, the initial speed is a constant value of 42 plus 1/4 of his
Dude,
horizontal
what?
speed.
Who freaking
For a
did
double
this?
jump, that constant is 52 instead. This means that the faster Mario's moving, the higher he jumps by a smaller
Because I
amount.
don't think the guy making the
However,
video is the one who
formula
figured this
also
out.
applies if Mario's
Like, he had
horizontal
to read
speed
it
is
and
negative.
study it, but like,
If Mario
who?
has negative speed,
who
then
figured
his
this
initial
out?
jump speed will be lower than 42.
There has to
If
be a
Mario has
name.
enough negative speed, his jumps will also have negative speed. This is called a negative jump. In this case, Mario's initial jump speed is 42 plus negative 6,154 divided by 4, or negative 1,497. This negative vertical speed means that his quarter step movement puts him under the bridge instead of inside of it, so Mario moves unobstructed for the full duration of the frame. This puts him right on the loading zone that leads
Can
to
I
damage
see
that
it though?
will
Can I
remote, which is
see?
normally
Can I see it in
only
action?
accessible when the water has been drained. At this point, since Mario's underwater, something should happen on the next frame. At the start of each frame,
Alberto
before Mario starts
Instantáneo hizo el
moving,
video.
Mario checks if he's colliding with anything like
El
walls, water,
original. What? Oh, shut up! Oh my gosh. Destiny te va a matar. Primero por el pollo y segundo por
or
esto.
enemies. Once the game detects that he has entered water, it will attempt to place him at the surface in a swimming state. However, the game handles the interaction
Ya
with the
me di
loading trigger
cuenta.
before the interaction with water, so the loading zone is triggered first and Mario never gets to enter water.
Alberto Instantáneo. Oh, wow. Wow. No, pero es que imagínate morir ahí.
Here, Mario should have taken damage from this long fall, but thanks to hitting this wall, he reset the falling distance and avoids taking damage. You may think that the movement that led us here wasn't quite optimal, and in fact you would be correct. But because this next BLJ requires the elevator platform to be in a specific spot, all that matters is that we get there on time.
Sí, pues, y es que lo que ahí, o sea, sí, porque sí estaba corriendo, saltando, entonces sí le quitó bastante tiempo, pero sí es por eso, o sea,
Mario is able to start another BLJ
tiene
on the
sentido.
elevator is because the game doesn't consider the momentum of a platform Mario is on when he jumps. Long jumping from a platform moving upwards has interesting results. Mario will start moving up, but so will the platform. After a frame, Mario moved up less than the platform has, so he snapped back up on the platform's floor and he lands from his jump immediately. These are the perfect conditions for a BLJ to happen. Behind this wall is out of bounds, so with negative speed, the game is trying to move Mario into a place that is out of bounds. This works mostly the same way as moving it to a ceiling, so Mario is kept in place while he keeps building up speed. Here, the game is paused to change camera settings. You can press R to switch between two camera modes, Lakitu Cam and Mario Cam. Changing the camera setting enables you to replace Mario Cam with Fixed Cam, which will hold the camera in place while it stays focused on Mario as long as you hold the R button. The reason for this change will make more sense soon. The reason why this couldn't be done during pause buffering a BLJ is because for the exit course and camera options to be available, the game needs to be paused while Mario is in the level and while he's doing one of 39
Ending,
specific
start
actions,
crouching,
and
crouching,
long
stop,
jumping is not one of them.
crouching, crawl, stop.
Now,
Oh
what
my
happens
gosh.
Well, this BLJ was much longer than the first one. If you thought negative
You want me to do this?
6,154 speed was a lot, hold on to something because you're not ready for this. Here, Mario keeps building up speed until it reaches negative 3.4 million. With that amount of speed, he's actually able to move somewhere. I won't explain where exactly just yet, but don't worry. For now, let's just say Mario is
Why is he
very,
not
very
telling
far.
us?
In fact, he's 3 million units away, or about 168 times
Lo
the
juro
size
que
of Earth.
no, no es más fácil
What
que lo
matters
decía.
here is that the elevator Mario was on just one frame earlier has started rotating. Because of an oversight in the game's code, under specific conditions, rotating platforms can affect Mario for 1 extra frame after he's no longer on them. Now, a platform rotating by 2.8 degrees usually has no noticeable impact, but magnify it over 3 million units of distance and suddenly those 2.8 degrees definitely matter. In fact, they matter so much that in 1 frame, Mario instantly gets warped below the death barrier, which in this stage doesn't kill him but instead kicks him back out into the castle grounds, specifically here. The reason why this is useful is that Mario's speed has 2 components, a horizontal speed and a sliding speed. The horizontal speed is used for most movement and the sliding speed is used when sliding. Both speeds are set at the same value most of the time, but some scenarios will update Mario's horizontal speed without updating his sliding speed. Being on the water is one of those scenarios. Therefore, while Mario is swimming around, he keeps whatever sliding speed he had entering the water, which in this case is 2,965,712. And this is where the magic happens. Okay, so how does this part work?
Yeah, what?
To answer that,
He wasn't even going that fast. What they're saying is he goes so fast that he's going through the supposed barriers, but he's not going that fast.
Talk about overflow jumps. Oh, and parallel universes. In Super Mario 64, Mario's position can be in any area of 3D space. However, when the game checks to see if Mario has a floor under him, it converts that position into an integer that can range from negative 32,768 to positive 32,767. If Mario's position is beyond this range, then this conversion overflows and loops back around, which means that Mario's real position and his floor detection position become disjointed. If Mario's floor detection position happens to be in a place where there's ground to stand on, then he can stand on that ground.
Oh my gosh.
So, for all intents and purposes, there is a copy of the map on each multiple of 65,536 units that Mario can sort of interact with. I say sort of because only the floor detection is handled this way, so there are no walls, objects, or textures out there. These incomplete copies of the map are called parallel universes, or PUs for short. This is a to-scale diagram of parallel universes. As you can see, most of the space is out of bounds and so it cannot be accessed.
Why would you need parallel universes though? Wouldn't that just make the game heavier?
Speed in order to actually work. But remember, when attempting to move Mario, the game divides his movement into 4 quarter steps. For Mario to actually move into a PU, he needs to have a large enough speed that even the first quarter step is in a PU, which means he needs to be able to move up to a multiple of 4 PUs.
Shoot! Wait, but why are there...
To perform a PU movement is called the same.
Parallel universes, that's what I don't get. Like, why would the developers have that? Serías amable sin que los demás lo fueran contigo. Amarías sin que fuera correspondido. Confiarías en ti sin que nadie lo haga. Cada cosa que haces, ¿lo haces de corazón o porque esperas recibir algo a cambio? ¿Esas son preguntas para mí o es una canción?
Speed. Small deviations to the sinking speed and angle will still move Mario to a PU, but they would also move him relatively to the main map. Now remember what happens if Mario's position is valid after 1 quarter step, but becomes invalid after the next one. He is moved up to but not beyond the last valid quarter step of his movement. This means that if the first quarter steps of Mario's movement line up with a PU, but at some point they stop lining up, Mario will end up moving into a PU but not by a multiple of 4. So with this in mind, where did Mario end up when he was 3 million units away in the Vanish Cap course? Well, it turns out that he was in a parallel universe. Mario ends up here, 32 PUs away in each direction. But his floor detection position, which we'll call his relative position from now on, barely moved. Since the game still detects him as being on the elevator, he can stand where he is for 1 frame before the game detects that he's too far for the platform to be solid. Thankfully, Mario only needs to be on the PU elevator for that 1 frame. At this point, the elevator starts rotating and a 2.8-degree rotation is applied over a distance of 32 PUs, warping Mario down under the death barrier, which triggers immediately and kicks him out of the stage. So now, with 2.9 million speed up his sleeve, Mario is ready to embark on his magical journey into parallel universes. Let's go.
Dude, that move is freaking crazy.
Unfortunately, like I said earlier, the camera is set to fixed. That is because the Nintendo 64 console crashes if the camera tries to follow Mario into a PU. Fixing the camera onto the main map gets around this limitation, which allows the run to be played back on a real console with no issues. So to help visualizing everything, we'll use 4 different screens. The actual view, which won't be very useful because the camera is fixed. the relative view, which will follow Mario while making PUs visible using a camera hack, the relative map, which will show where Mario's relative position is, or in other words, where Mario's location inside of the PU relates
And then
to
the
map.
PU.
And finally, the PU map, which shows where Mario actually is on a map that spans
No
PU
sé, solo que
distances.
está triste
The
porque
PU map is intentionally not
¿Cómo me
to scale
encanta
to make it
piel
easier
canela?
to see. So the first movement we see is Mario going 3 PUs up and to the right, followed by another movement of 2 PUs down and 11 to the right. At this point, his relative position is on the beach next to the cannon, but he's actually about 1 million units away from the main map. From there, Mario pivots in place to adjust his angle and prepare for his next move. Here, Mario jumps. This has two major effects. The first one is actually quite simple. When moving at high speeds, Mario's single and double jumps slow him down by 20%. This means that if he has a horizontal speed of 100 and he jumps, he will lose 1/5 of that speed and continue with 80 speed.
Oh my gosh.
Here he goes from 2.9 million to 2.3 million, but the principle is the same. The second effect is a bit
That's a
tricky.
lot still.
Remember the negative jump from earlier? Well, the same principle applies here. With a high negative speed, jumping causes Mario to move down instead of up. However, we're not talking about negative 6,000 speed here, but negative 2.9 million.
Jeez!
What happens is that Mario inherits 1/4 of that ludicrous speed, or 736,000 speed headed down. This is more than enough to reach a parallel universe, but this time vertically. So what happens when Mario enters a vertical parallel universe, or VPU? Well, it turns out things behave a bit differently here. When Mario's next quarter step position is in a VPU, again the game converts his vertical position, which we'll call his Y position, into a number between negative 32,000 and positive 32,000, and it overflows just like for horizontal PUs. Then it tries to find the closest floor below Mario. One thing to note is that Mario's exact coordinates are calculated at a point between his feet, so his Y position is at the bottom of Mario's model. To make it so Mario could climb stairs and go up slopes, this floor check actually starts 78 units above Mario's Y position. Once the game found the highest floor that meets this condition, it compares the floor's height with Mario's Y position. But this time, Mario's real Y position is used, not his relative position. Obviously, Mario's real Y position is below the floor,
Yeah.
even if his relative position is above it. When the game runs into this scenario, it's usually because the floor is between Mario's position and the 0.78 units above it, which means that he's going up a slope or a flight of stairs. So the game simply snaps Mario's Y position up to match the floor's position.
Shoot!
Since the floor's position is within the real map,
So they're
Mario is
abusing
instantly
it.
snapped out of the VPU back onto the horizontal PU grid. This is called an overflow jump. It all happens inside of a single frame, so there's no moment where Mario is inside of the VPU. In fact, it always happens inside of a single quarter step, because for a jump to overflow into a VPU, the speed needs to be large enough to reach it in a single quarter step, and upon colliding with the ground, Mario's movement is automatically interrupted for that frame. This is exactly what happens here. On this frame, Mario has negative 2,648,000 speed in the X direction and 1,287,000 speed in the Z direction, or 40 PU speed in the negative X direction and 20 PU speed in the Z
Publiqué
direction.
un pez con cara humana en IG con música de fondo y todos preguntaron si soy retrasado. No, ¿por qué? No
This
suena
allows
nada
him to perform an
mal.
overflow jump and move by 1/4 step, which is 8 PUs to the left and 4 PUs down. The final part of this entire trick is moving to the moat door. Now Mario is able to open the moat door if he walks into it. Unfortunately, the water in the moat extends well into the castle, so he can't just come at it from behind. However, if Mario manages to walk outside of water, and on the next frame walk into the door underwater, the interaction with the door will take priority over the underwater check. The only way this can be done is by coming in through a parallel universe. This would be simple if it wasn't for a couple of
Ya,
hurdles.
pero ya son las 8. Ya son 8:30. A ver, yo creo que mañana podemos hacer. Mañana terminamos de ver el video. Nos faltaron que como 18 minutos, no mucho.
Mario needs to be actually walking for the door interaction to happen. When going at PU speeds, this can be a bit tricky. When Mario moves between PUs,
Sí, cabal.
he'll start
No
walking
me
only
faltó
if his
mucho,
next
la verdad. Pero bueno, hoy sí. Hoy tengo que ir a. Me va a acostar. Entonces, quiero decir muchas gracias a todos los que vieron el stream, todos los que estuvieron aquí, todos los que estuvieron interactuando, todos los que estuvieron solamente viendo, y todos los que siguen aquí desde el principio. Entonces, thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry, Tariku, but tomorrow, we're going to finish the video tomorrow, I promise. Thank you to everybody who was here. Thank you for everybody who chatted. Thank you to everybody who lurked. And thank you to everybody that's still here who joined since the very beginning. So I appreciate you all. And I love you very much. Espero que algún día me amaras. Yo te amo. I love you all. And have a great night. And thank you so much again. And thank you for the fun facts, Toriku. I appreciate that with the language and all that. And that was pretty cool. Hell yeah! Happy birthday, Java, by the way! And www. Thank you for watching. I love you all. And I'll see you tomorrow. Semana Santa.